Friends, in the today's lecture of Jigs and Fixture, we are going to see module number 2. And what is the module number 2? Let's hear. In the module number 2, the name is Basic Construction of Jigs and Fixtures. So, the points that we are going to see or the points which are going to cover are locating and location and locating devices, locating principles, that is degrees of freedom, redundant location, foolproofing, nesting, then locators that control workpiece on flat surfaces, location of cylindrical surfaces, conical locators, centralizers, etc. Then clamping and clamping devices, requirement of clamping system, position of clamps, types of clamps, clamping devices, the examples of typical clamps, that is multiple clamping, and equalizing devices, quick acting clamping mechanisms such as link, toggle, cam, eccentric, pneumatic, hydraulic and electric devices, component distortions under clamping and cutting forces, materials used for different clamping devices of jig or fixture, and what will be the recommended hardness in order to proceed these. Now, this is the brief introduction about module number 2, that is basic construction of jigs and fixtures. Let's understand basic construction of jigs and fixtures. Now, my dear friends, every jig and fixture consists of what will be that 6 point that will describe either a jig or either a fixture, and write down the 6 factors that will be contained in every jig and every fixture, and that are: first, the main body, that is the body of jig or fixture, then locating elements related to jig and fixture, then clamping elements, then tool guiding and setting elements, then positioning elements, and last is indexing elements. So these will be the 6 elements contained in every jig and every fixture. I will repeat for your sake, and the 6 elements that will be asked in the exam and you have to write it accordingly are: main body, locating elements, clamping elements, tool guiding and setting elements, positioning elements, and indexing elements. So these are the 6 only elements you have to consider. But what is the condition that every element acquires? And for the main body provides base for other elements. It can be of frame, box or plate type structure. Main body should be rigid and stable enough to withstand various forces. Second, we will talk about locating elements. These elements are used to position or locate the workpiece accurately with the respect to the cutting tool. So, they will provide a location. Third, clamping elements. These elements are used to hold the workpiece firmly in the located positions. 4. Tool guiding and setting elements. These elements are used to guide the cutting tool in correct position with respect to workpiece, and in case of jigs, the drill bushes are used to guide the cutting tool, and in case of fixture, setting elements are used to set the cutting tool. Now, as the name indicates, positioning elements. These devices are used to secure the jig fixture to the machine table. And last but not the least, that is indexing elements. These devices are used to index the workpiece accurately. These devices need not to be part of every jig and fixture, only in case of requirement should be used. Now, dear friends, what is the basic definition of jig and fixture is to be remembered always in case of writing any answer in the paper of design of jig fixture. Jig, that is the basic body or basic structure that provides, locates, clamps the workpiece and guide the tool towards the workpiece, whereas fixture is a body, is a part, is a content that will hold the workpiece tightly, that will locate the workpiece accurately, but it will not guide the tool towards the workpiece. Therefore, we are always saying 2 words, that jig performs 3 functions of clamping the job to the table, second, locating the job on the correct machining table position, and third, guiding the tool towards the workpiece, whereas in the terminology of fixture we always say that fixture will perform only two basic functions, that it will hold the workpiece tightly, securely, it will clamp the workpiece securely, and it will guide the workpiece, it will locate the workpiece, but it will not guide the tool towards the workpiece. So hope with this basics knowledge for the basic construction of jig fixture, we will move forward. Location and locating devices. Already you have received a note related to this module. So listen carefully, that will enhance the knowledge and it will clear the concepts from your mind. Location and locating devices. In any machining operation, it is required to accurately position the workpiece with respect to cutting tool. Now this is called as a referencing. We have seen many times that there are three categories of workers: unskilled, semi-skilled and skilled. When we talk related to unskilled workers, the reference work will not be allotted to him. In the terminology of semi-skilled or in the terminology of skilled workers, it will be given for the worker to accurately position the workpiece along with respect to cutting tool, because then and then only component will be processed accurately on the machine and it will be called as a good workpiece. And we have seen the definition of a good workpiece, that is when you convert a raw or unfinished component into finished component, that will be called as a good workpiece. Therefore, in order to achieve this, you have to maintain the referencing. Now it is the duty of tool designer to properly design the location system so that it will position the workpiece accurately, as well as it will ensure the tool is easily loaded and unloaded. Okay, we'll go forward. Locating principles. Now tool designer should keep following principles in mind while designing the system. Now these are the designing parameters that will determine your knowledge related to design of jig fixture, not only from the syllabus point of view but from the career point of view in the manufacturing or in the mass production industry. So write down, mug it down, but listen carefully. The first theory that you have to understand is the equilibrium theory. And equilibrium theory, what it says, it can be defined as what? Equilibrium can be defined as balance of all the forces applied on an object. To accomplish any machining operation, it is required to have the workpiece in equilibrium condition. Obviously, right from the first year mechanics subject till strength of material subject till design of machining structures, you have to understand, you have to reveal this truth, that to accomplish any machining operation, it is required to have the workpiece in equilibrium condition. The equilibrium should be both linear as well as rotational. Forces and the moments should be balanced so that workpiece will remain at its rest. It is very much true. Balance of forces and balance of moments is required to achieve linear equilibrium and rotational equilibrium respectively. Yes, we all know about this fact. The equilibrium can be achieved with the help of clamping devices and locators. Clamping devices provides holding forces and stationary locators are used to balance those forces. This was the first equilibrium theory you have to understand. Second, that is the degrees of freedom. You have received already a PPT and another video lecture explaining 3-2-1, that is 3-2-1 principle. An object in a space has 12 degrees of freedom, that is linear motions along 3 perpendicular axes and rotational motion about these axes. You have seen, hope you remember, x-axis in positive direction, that is x plus, x-axis in negative direction, that is x minus, y-axis in positive direction, y plus, y-axis in negative direction, y minus, z-axis in positive direction, z plus, and z-axis in negative direction, z minus. So these 6 were moment of linearity, therefore these are called as linear motions. 6 linear motions, and twisting of these axes in the clockwise and anti-clockwise direction will give another 6 motions. Now with this help of location system and clamping system, it is possible to restrict these 12 degrees of freedom. To do so, a definite pattern of position of locators should be developed, and the pattern of arrangement is called as a 3-2-1 location principle. Now this 3-2-1 principle states that the statement is to be highlighted, underlined. Okay, the 3-2-1 principle states that it is possible to restrict 9 degrees of freedom by placing a workpiece on a 3-pin base with 2 and 1 pin type locator on each side respectively. So this will be given the principle only. It will be working very well for rectangular or square base workpieces. In the case of workpieces having previously machined holes, then the center hole will be used as a primary locator and another hole will be used as a secondary locator. The third theory that is to be considered is a redundant location. Redundant location exists when two locators are used to restrict same degrees of freedom from two different locations. Now this situation must be avoided as it may cause inaccuracy and as well as it will be costing more. Now for example, let us understand a location system used for a workpiece in which both hub and flange sides are used as a location purpose. But for this system is not preferable, as this system would accept workpiece only if the workpiece and location system are manufactured without any error. Now reference surfaces used in this case are parallel to each other only. One is needed for reference and other should be eliminated. So according to the requirement, either flange surface or hub surface will be used as a reference surface for location. So this is what the designer engineer should consider. Next part that you have to understand is a foolproofing. Foolproofing arrangement ensures that the workpiece will fit into the jig and fixture only in its correct position. For example, a component with a drill of 520 mm on tapered side, but if the workpiece can be loaded only at an angle, then there is a risk of workpiece being loaded wrongly. And to eliminate this situation, the tool designer will provide foolproofing pin on the required side. Therefore, it will be taken into consideration the square part of the workpiece, the tapered angles of the workpiece. Foolproofing pin will obstruct the loading of the workpiece if it is wrongly loaded. So it is impossible to load the workpiece in incorrect position because of the foolproofing pin, and that will be the advantage. Next was the nesting. Now for nesting system or nest is used for the workpieces which do not have machine edges or holes to locate. Machining methods are generally used for symmetrical workpieces and casting methods are used for unsymmetrical workpieces. In the case of short-run productions, nest can be made from plastic or epoxy resins also. Nesting provides locating surfaces from all sides of workpiece, so it should be accurately manufactured and it involves more cost than other location systems. Now, it is the most accurate locating device for profile locations. For cylindrical workpieces, ring nest is commonly used. Full nest completely encloses the workpieces, whereas partial nest encloses only a part of the workpieces. Dear friends, up to now we have considered many of the things. Just revise them and you will understand concept. We will cover your doubts in the coming Zoom meeting of this weekend. So till then, study hard. Thank you.